Hello everyone, it's Hunter and welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new here, it is so nice to meet you. Today's video, I am going to be doing my book wrap up for the month of March, and I'm so excited to be sharing these books with you. I think March was a really good month for books. So let me go ahead and share. My child is hanging on the floor back here, so let me just, okay. My baby is hanging out in the background, so if she's loud, just forgive me. She's normally not awake when I'm filming, but she had a very early nap today, so. Yeah, so I do a video like this at the beginning of every single month to recap the books I read from the month before and give you guys a very brief synopsis and review. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first book that I completed this month was Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score, and I thought this one was really cute. It is HGTV meets YouTube, so like HGTV type YouTube channel, and Maggie moves from place to place. She buys a house that's basically dilapidated, and the worse the better. So essentially she buys homes that are completely unsafe to live in and rehabs them, renovates them completely, and documents the entire process for her YouTube channel. And she is in this new town in Idaho where she is going to be renovating this old historic home that has just been kind of sitting on top of a hill for a while, and she is really excited to dig in, and she meets this guy who is her landscaper, and you know what happens from there. But she also questions what she wants to do with her life, how she wants to move forward, and kind of what her future looks like with her YouTube channel because it's been so successful, but she's not quite sure what she wants to do from there. So I really liked this one. I gave it 5 out of 5. Lucy Score books tend to be pretty spicy, but I thought this one was relatively tame compared to others that I've read, and I just genuinely enjoyed this. So 5 stars for me. The second book I read is called If I Go Missing by Leslie Wolfe, and it's about this woman who she became obsessed with this case of a missing girl that was murdered when she was a child or a teenager or something like that. She became obsessed with this person, and she became obsessed with the key details of the case about how this girl went missing, and police could have found her had they had certain information about her passwords and things like that. So she is a very big advocate for the If I Go Missing binder, basically sharing any information that you can give law enforcement, and you should not share this with anyone except for maybe someone super important in your life that can give this information over to police if you ever go missing. And then something happens, and this little girl on her street goes missing, and then it's one of her students at her school, and then her best friend goes missing, and all fingers are pointing to her. They've got some history. It was really good. I think, what did I even give this one? I gave this one 4 stars. The plot line at the end was maybe just a little bit confusing to me. I don't really feel like I understood it that well, but the synopsis says, like the very first line of it is, if you're reading this, I've gone missing. This one is on Kindle Unlimited, and I really liked it, but like I said, that little bit at the ending was a little bit confusing. So it came out on January 2nd of this year, so it's a fairly new book. The next book I read is The Maids Diary by Lorith Ann White, and I've read a couple of books by her before and I really liked them. I actually didn't rate this one, I'm not sure why, but it is about this girl named Kit. She is the maid for this wealthy family or this wealthy couple, and she ends up being, obviously she's their maid, I just said that, but she is connected to the owner of the house in a way from her past that she doesn't realize until she's already in the house and figures out who the owners are. And she is really big snoop, so she's going through all their stuff, and there is a homicide cop that is investigating a call to a scene at a luxury waterfront home known as the Glass House. She finds evidence that there's a lot of blood, and she can't find a person, so she's really confused trying to investigate this. And then she finds it goes back and forth between the investigation and the Maid's Diary, and I thought it was really interesting. I think I'm gonna give this 5 stars now that I'm thinking about it, but it was really good. I was actually so shocked by, there was like a plot twist in there. We love an unreliable narrator, let's just put it that way. The next book I read is called The Silent Woman by Minka Kent, and in my opinion, Minka Kent does psychological thrillers really, really well, but I only gave this one 4 stars because it felt too familiar. Like, there were elements that I just didn't feel like were that original, although I do think that the way she played the story out was really good. So there is Jade, and she has just married Wells, who is a rich man recently divorced, but there is a little twist. In their cottage in the backyard is his ex-wife, who was involved in an accident in the past, and she is like a vegetable kind of. So that part is giving Verity. But then some things start showing up that make Jade a little bit suspicious, and okay, let me back up. I'm just gonna read the synopsis here. Let's see. Only she wasn't expecting Sylvie to have something for her as well. A slip of torn notebook paper with a single word scrawled in shaky black ink. That word, run. So the ex-wife obviously has more abilities than her husband is leading her to believe. And it also is giving a little bit of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because Jade originally met her husband because she was creating a biography about his grandmother. And so she was going through all of her things and getting like a tell-all. My child is now under my desk, and there are toys right here. So the next book I only gave 3 stars, and I feel really bad about it, but it is called Running Mate by Leah Brunner. On Goodreads it's called A Love Unexpected, but it's recently been renamed. Let me see, what's this guy's name? I literally can't ever remember the name of the authors. I mean the name of the characters. Madden. Okay, his name is Madden. Madden is running for, I think, Congress or Senate. He's running for to be a representative of the state of Kansas as an independent party, and he is in a very conservative state, so his campaign manager tells him that he should find a wife because that's going to make him more appealing to voters. So he meets Odette and they get married out of convenience, out of needing things. She needs a place for her family to live and for her family to be taken care of, and he can provide that for her, and she can provide the wife image to him. And I thought this was really cute, but I'm not kidding. It felt so slow, and I feel like it gave so many unnecessary details in the beginning, only for it to be rushed at the end. I feel like if the end had more detail like the first part did, then it probably would have felt a little bit more well-rounded, but I just felt like it was so detailed in the beginning, only for it to feel so rushed at the end. So that's the only reason why I gave it 3 stars. But I still thought it was a cute book, and if you are a fan of closed door romance, this is. So I like that part. The next book I read is None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell, and I gave this one 5 stars. This is about Alex, who goes out to dinner on her 45th birthday, and she runs into a woman named Josie, who is also at the same restaurant celebrating her 45th birthday, and they kind of get to know each other. Turns out Josie, they run into each other later, and Alex has a podcast about empowering women and women who have like carried themselves into better situations, and they are like inspiring stories. Okay. And then one day Alex decides that she kind of wants to change direction with the content of her podcast, and Josie suggests her being the next subject because she is in an abusive relationship and she is in a weird family situation, so she kind of wants to tell her story on the podcast, and then things go haywire. It makes you question what's real and what's not. That's all I got. There's a passy right here. The next book I read, I also listened to, and it's Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. I have read another book by her and I really loved it, so I was really looking forward to reading this one, and I was not disappointed. I was not expecting any part of it. Her name is literally Daisy Darker, like Darker is her last name, which I don't know why I wasn't expecting that. I did not read the synopsis at all. But her whole family has been avoiding each other for years, and they all come together at her grandmother's house to celebrate her 80th birthday. And then something kind of strange starts happening, and the tide comes in. They're in a place that's so remote that once the tide comes in, they're kind of stranded in the house until the tide goes back down. And the family has a lot of secrets. At the stroke of midnight, Nana, their grandmother, is found dead. And then an hour later, the next family member follows, and that continues until the tide comes down and they can't leave because they're trapped on this island. I thought it was very, it says with a wicked wink to Agatha Christie's, and then there were None. Daisy Darker's unforgettable twists will leave readers reeling. Yeah, so it definitely has And Then There Were None vibes, but I really like that it's like mentioned. It's like, whatever, it's meant to be as inspiration here. And I definitely get those vibes and I really liked it, so I gave it 5 stars. The next book I also gave 4 stars is Love Redesigned by Jenny Proctor. And the reason why I gave this one 4 stars again is because I feel like it had so much detail in the beginning and I felt like it was a little more rushed at the end. We have Danny, who is working in her dream job at a fashion designer in New York, and then one day her boss steals her designs and she is tired of it, so she quits her job and moves in with her brother, who is he lives in Charleston, and so she moves back, but also she finds out that her ex lives with him as well, and she is living in the same house as him, and exes, forced proximity, yada yada yada, you know how it goes. I felt like there were parts of it that were kind of boring, so that's the only reason why I gave it 4 stars, but I thought it was really cute, and it's also a closed door romance. And the last book I read was actually a book that was gifted to me by the publisher, so thank you so much, Grand Central Publishing, for sending this book over. It is Still See You Everywhere by Lisa Gardner, and it came out on the 13th of this month, and I thought it was really good. It's the 3rd book in the Frankie Elkins series by Lisa Gardner, and it's about Frankie. Obviously, she goes to this prison, she meets with a serial killer who is nicknamed the Beautiful Butcher, and she is on death row in Texas, and her little sister went missing when she was a child, so Kaylee was a teenager at the time, and her little sister Leilani went missing, so she's on death row, and she gets a letter from her little sister telling her that she's still alive, telling her kind of what happened, what's going on, and she seems like she's scared in the letter, so she hires Frankie to find her sister on this random atoll in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. And she's undercover, obviously, while she's doing this. I feel like there were, like, so many strange things. There's an incredible cast of characters. Honestly, this was a very character-driven book, in my opinion, but I really liked it. I also really liked that there was a lot of research that went into this, because it took place on, like I said, on an atoll in the middle of the atoll, or however you pronounce it, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and okay, guess we're gonna baby for the last part. In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and she did a lot of research about the flora and fauna and just like the happenings of such a remote location, and I really enjoyed that. So I gave it 5 stars, and that was the last book that I read for the month of March. So yeah, that's all I have for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Can you say bye? Say bye.